Tom, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, Mike?
Not too bad. Ready for another movie chat here?
I am always ready. It's funny, like, you know, we discuss one movie a week,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
seriously, like, honestly, how many movies have you watched since the last time we've talked?
Oh my God, I've probably watched seven different movies. Yeah,
I,
and TV shows too in between. But but what's this I keep hearing about Breaking Bad too?
no,
Um,
I haven't heard anything about that.
yeah, they're supposed to be talking about. I don't. I think it's actually like coming soon. So I saw.
You know, I never really watched Breaking Bad. So,
Oh man, you need to watch Breaking Bad, and you need to.
Mike, I watched the first season and I just could not get into it. None of the people
Really,
were
really.
interesting to me.
Wow, really. Yeah, because I really dug it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I
And
liked where
again,
it came. Yeah,
you're not alone.
yeah. Oh no, it was extremely popular.
Very
Extreme.
popular.
Yeah.
Now,
So
there is a sequel
yes.
that I was interested in hearing about.
What's that? Oh, oh, really?
The
Wow.
Passion, like, what are they going to do?
I
Like,
don't know. Beat him
wasn't
some
the
more.
end like the end?
Yeah.
I mean, is this the second coming?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I have no idea what they would do. Unless they're doing something on the resurrection or yeah, I don't know.
I mean, granted, I also have not seen the original of this as well. It just, from what I heard about it, it was the story of his life and death.
Right.
And
Well,
I'm not sure what a whole new movie is going to say to us.
yeah. I mean, I to tell you the truth, I haven't seen it myself. The
We might
original.
have to pick it at some point.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Maybe for next Easter or something. But
That's a good idea.
yeah, yep. But I remember talking to Alicia and Josh said, "Well, watch it if you want to see somebody being beaten for." And so it just kind of like I thought to myself, that is probably what's going on. It's probably heavy on the and I mean there's only so much I want to see of that. So, but what movie are we doing, Dom?
Okay, so
Since
today's movie is the 2014 comedy horror Life After Beth, starring Aubrey Plaza and Dane DeHaan. Although I hesitate to say who it's starring because it's got an all-star cast.
Oh, it does, and everybody shows up with a lot of time, so a lot of on-screen time for everybody. Aubrey probably is one of the leading contenders.
She's clearly the best, in my opinion.
Oh my God! Well, she's so good. She's so good in a lot of stuff, but she was really good in this. I mean, she was scary. She was scary as an slowly emerging zombie. But why don't you do the intro and then we'll go.
So I gotta say, um, the story is a bit vague. When we start, Aubrey Plaza's character, Beth Slocum, has died. We're seeing the funeral. We're seeing
Yeah,
the aftermath with her family, her boyfriend, um, and then she comes back.
right. Well,
And
it's actually kind of really creepy the way she comes back too, because um, when he's going over to visit the parents and her parents, and actually kind of makes friendly with them, and the father smokes a joint with them one night, and but one of he actually is feeling like, okay, well, the family's kind of accepted me, and they're we got a relationship here. The father's letting him call him by his first name and so on and so forth, and then he spots her in the house, and that's what's but keep going with your what
so,
you're
so, so anyway, there's really two storylines going on in this
yeah,
movie. The
yeah,
main storyline is that she has come back to life as a zombie. I'm going to cut right to the chase. There's a
Yeah.
little conversation at the start of the movie. Let's cut right to the chase. She comes back as a zombie. She doesn't know it yet.
No, no.
So she is slowly deteriorating. She's definitely acting odd, but she doesn't know it, and everyone is trying to hide it, both from her and from the world in general.
Yeah. Well,
But she
it's
still is doing a steady decline throughout the movie.
yeah, and I mean the parents are actually the one because the boyfriend really isn't he's not as big into
He's
into
doing a lot of work keeping it from her.
yes, but only because the father is really saying you got to abide by my rules, and my rules say we don't tell her, and she thinks she's still going to school. She keeps talking about a test that's coming up, and that
Mhm.
she's worried about this test, and she seems to have a real problem with memory. She
Mhm.
remembers like she doesn't even remember because they broke up like shortly before she died. And typically, the scene behind you, that was where she actually has her demise. What did they say? A snake bite or something? It
Snake
was,
bite.
yeah, or at least that's what they thought it was. And there she is on her phone, typical people on phones, which I do it myself. But you're out in the
Well, that's
nature.
the thing. She's out for a hike. Who is going to? I mean, I guess there are going to be people on their phones during a hike, but none that I know.
Well, I mean, I can be guilty of being out somewhere and start looking at my phone, but like I'm not going to stay on it. I might glance at it and see if I happen to see something that looks like a text message that I might really need to check into. I do it. I know it's people shouldn't be doing it. I mean, what's the point of having nature and beauty around you? I mean, if people go on vacation, they're driving through a national park or something, and they're playing on their phone, and it's like, come on, people, I mean, we have plenty of time for that, but we all do it at different
We
times.
say as we make content for YouTube.
I know, really, seriously,
Talk
we're
about hypocrites.
I know we're complete hypocrites.
But anyway, the other storyline in the movie
Yeah,
that I actually wish they had spent more time on is that this Aubrey's zombification is not an isolated event, but we start
yeah.
seeing other people in town acting in similar ways.
Yeah, and in that sense, it's very similar to the movie Shaun of the Dead
Right.
because and that's one of the things I really found humorous in Shaun of the Dead is how, and talking about people on phones and things like that, but it's often really true with people. They don't pay attention to shit going on around them. I
Mhm.
mean, hey, we're not even paying attention half the time to what politicians are doing or whatever. We're more intent with looking at whatever celebrities doing something stupid or who's taking Ozempic or whatever. But but yeah, there's zombies running around there. There's a mailman at one point that comes up to the main character there, the boyfriend, and he hands him a bunch of mail, and the kid's like, I haven't seen you in ages, and he's like, yep, and he goes, here's your mail, and he goes, that's not our mail, and he goes, well, you have a nice day, and he just walks off, and then yeah,
Then he crashes his mail vehicle.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, and then the scene where Anna Kendrick's in this movie, which is another, she
I
was in
didn't
our,
even recognize her at first.
yeah, and that's actually kind of a humorous scene because they're sitting in a little restaurant, this is the scene where they just come out of the restaurant, and Beth has come up out of nowhere, and she's furious and jealous of Anna Kendrick. But in the restaurant, the waiter's not acting right. The cook is slamming orders down on the counter and spinning the menu, or not the menu, but the orders around, and just he's acting completely crazy, and everybody's ignoring him, and this like I said, crazy scene in there. And when she comes out, she's got a whole handful of cash. She's like, they gave me cash. You know. So like I said, everybody's like slowly starting to go a little bit crazy around them, but nobody's really paying attention. So just like modern life.
Yeah. So someone, I can remember during the pandemic, someone was talking about zombie movies. And
Yeah.
he's like, I used to think that these zombie movies where people are looting and forming militias, it might be what happens. But now I know we'd all be talking about fake news and how it's not really happening.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. It's yeah, until it started really, really getting bad, you'd have people, and you'd probably still have people denying it. Yeah, yeah. So, so yeah, it's insane. But yeah, like I said, there were a lot of similarities to Shaun of the Dead, the comedy part of it, which I really liked. I thought the comedy was great, and who better to play a zombie, but Aubrey Plaza with those deadpan looks and just the way slow she slowly starts like really uh, getting worse. I mean, at first it's just the forgetfulness. There's not really even any problems with you don't see it with her skin or face. Nothing looks like too out of the ordinary at first. The first thing is when he takes her out in the daytime and she ends up getting some kind of a burn on her face, um, because probably her skin's dead. But but yeah, like I said, it really slowly builds to where you start realizing like, wow, something's seriously wrong. And
So, so we're about 15 minutes into our video, and
yeah,
I'm already going to come out with my first complaint.
okay.
And that's that I think this cast was severely wasted on this movie.
Um,
Aubrey Plaza is great at first. And then once she dissolves enough into like this semi-mindless beast, it could be anyone in that role. Her talent is not used in the last half of the movie. And
uh,
likewise, John C. Riley, amazing actor. Molly
oh my
Shannon,
God, yeah, yeah.
totally funny. Not great lines. I mean, they did get time in the movie, but as speaking funny lines as actually being effective as actors of their skill,
Yeah.
I, this struck me as like, this seems like a fun thing to do. Let's get a bunch of our friends together and film it.
Uh, well, I agree with you to a point only.
Hmm.
Um, I do think that the lines that the parents had, because hey, both very talented uh, comedy actors, and both of them, I think were a little wasted in this. They could have had better lines. The script could have been a little better, but I liked what Aubrey was doing right until, and the last part, by the time it gets to the last part of the movie where she's really starting to, because the rage starts to, I mean, at first you don't see this, you don't see the rage. They're actually really renewing their love affair. In fact, it's getting kind of hot and heavy, to the point where the parents are uncomfortable. There's a couple of scenes where he's kind of making out with her in the living
Yeah,
room.
first part of the movie.
This
Yes.
Yeah, well, this scene right here, I mean, they're kind of going at it in the living room, and the father is like, okay, kids, like let's break it up. But um but yeah, the parents were kind of relegated to just this background kind of a role. um when she does start becoming a like really zombified, um she's she's got less to be able to, she's not going to
Well, yeah,
articulate stuff. And
obviously.
yeah, so
Obviously.
that's when, but again, like I said, I appreciated the whole way it rolled out. And so I liked how it was a little bit slow at first. I mean, at first when she comes back, you're kind of thinking, well, she seems fairly normal. I mean, she sort of seems like she's okay. And then little by little, you start seeing the rage and just, you know, a lot of craziness. And you can tell the mind's not really there. It's, you know, there's a lot of problems. And of course, the parents are in complete denial, everything about what's going on. And it gets to the point where, like, you know, he's talking to her, she's trying to kiss him, and you know, this is when she starts to become like more of a zombie. But he's like, Beth, your breath, you know, and it's like, yeah, she's starting to like decay. But I'll tell you what I was surprised by is some of the people that came back. There was a scene with the in the his family. He comes back to his house, and his grandfather is in the house out of his grave. And I'm thinking to myself, he's in pretty good condition. I mean, how long was he in the grave? You know, I mean, because yeah, they come back as a zombie.
That was Gary Marshall's last appearance on film.
Wow, was
He
it really?
died 2 years after that.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I didn't even realize when you say Gary Marshall, I know immediately who you're talking about, but wow, that's crazy because I didn't even realize, yeah, the makeup and what we were
Mhm.
watching.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't have recognized him off the bat.
Yeah, no, that's actually pretty. And again, talk about a, you know, a real cast. I can't think of the actress's name. It bugs the hell out of me right now, but
Penny Marshall?
um, well, no, not Penny Marshall. I was gonna say the mother, his mother, is
Oh,
from Curb Your
that's
Enthusiasm.
Cheryl Hines.
Yes, Cheryl Hines, which I apologize, I could not think of her name, but
Mike, I'm the same way. I've got a cheat sheet for all this. I've gotten
yeah,
these all
yeah.
right
Well,
now.
I'm always ill prepared. I'm the one that doesn't have the cheat sheet, but no, I love her in pretty much every role she plays, and she's very good in comedy as she showed in Curb Your Enthusiasm.
She's great.
But oh my God, she's great in everything she does. But she was a little wasted in that role because she was just in the background play. So they did have actors and actresses that I think that they were probably not used effectively.
This guy,
oh my God, yeah, yeah. Well,
um, the only like I'm not saying he did a phenomenal job in his role.
I
He
thought he
was
was great.
he
Yeah.
was amusing. What I loved about him is I know him way more from Criminal Minds.
Oh yes, yeah, yeah,
And it was such a dramatic change for him. I loved
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. He was his character is a little bit twisted to say the least.
Yep.
And I love some of the scenes between the two brothers because these two are brothers, and actually even just the way their hair was and everything like that, I was thinking, wow, they really look like they could be brothers. They had similar looks, but but no, when the whole thing starts breaking down, and of course he's already a security guard, and he takes it way more. Yeah, there's Beth in a rage, but he's taking it way. In fact, he's trying to shoot Beth in the head in one scene, and
He shot his grandfather in the head.
I know, yeah, and he starts crying, and he goes, I shot like granddad in the head," and the kid's like, well, "You had to do it. You had to put him out of his out of his misery." But but no, like I said, I actually the similarities between Shaun of the Dead and you know, this movie here, I think there's quite a few similarities. Um, I mean, it took a long time before like it really started to sink into the people that were in the movie that like, yeah, there's actually something going on here. I don't think his parents actually clued in until the grandfather showed up, and then the former homeowner of their house who's saying, "I bought this house for $20,000." And everybody's like, how long ago did you buy the house? You know, it's like, geez, 20,000. But hey, I remember when I was a little kid, I remember seeing a lot of houses that were going for, you know, like little ranches would go for 14, 20,000. Those were the days, man. Those
Are
are,
we going to get onto an affordable housing conversation?
yeah, you know, We should. We should.
So I just wanted to point out the long tradition that this movie follows in.
Yeah.
Here's Warm Bodies,
Oh yeah.
where
Yeah.
the male partner that is the zombie.
Yeah.
That came out the year before,
Okay.
2013. There's this I hadn't heard of.
Uh,
Zombie Honeymoon.
Possible. I've never seen it. I know that. I mean, I may have heard about it at one point, but it does not ring a bell. So no. Um,
And
but
then
you're talking
there's,
about, so you're talking about love affairs with zombies. Now that I definitely know.
Return of the Living Dead 3.
Yep,
These
I've seen that one.
are people that were in relationships prior to one of their deaths,
Right,
and then something was done to bring them back from the dead.
right, right.
And so again, I find it's a very, I'm wondering if this should even be a subgenre.
It probably should. Yeah, it deserves its own.
Zombie romance.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Well, I'm thinking, do you have others? Because I know there's another one that I cannot think of the title of it right now.
Oh, there is another one.
I believe it's a boy that his girlfriend, or it might be the boyfriend came back. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Yes, My Boyfriend's Back.
Yes, that's what it's called.
That's it.
Yep, that's it. And I have not seen that one either. But now there's Beth with the burn on her face after he takes her out, and they go to the beach and make love right in public on the on the beach. But I don't know what beach they were at. Yeah.
I know dead bodies.
Yeah, you do.
I do.
With your medical history.
I ran a cadaver lab for 8 years.
Yeah, yeah.
So I know dead bodies. Those public display of affection scenes were stomach churning to me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I kept thinking of stuff too, because all I could think of is, I mean, even just the idea of kissing, and when you think of the person being dead and their body rotting from the inside out.
You don't even need to think about the feel of a dead body is so different.
Yeah, yeah.
Than a living one.
Well, let me just say, I'll tell you something. Like I've always had, I believe me, I give you full credit. You've done, you know, your autopsies, and
it's a job.
I give you, but I mean, I give you full credit, because I have never, even just with loved ones that have passed away, I see people go up and they'll put their hand on the person's hand, or they'll lean over and kiss the person.
Mm-hmm.
I have never, ever been able to bring myself to do something like that. I've not with, my parents, with anyone. I can't do it. It's like, to me, it's like the person I knew is gone. So when I think of like the idea of somebody like the scene where they were making out on the beach.
Oh my God, that was hard to watch.
Yeah, it was. It was. All I could think of was like, ooh, I mean, and then later when he says the comment about like, Beth, your breath, because it's getting worse. But I'm thinking, well, it couldn't have been great to begin with. I mean, she was embalmed, I'm assuming. So it's like, man, there's so many things I can think of, and I'm not even going to get into the more intimate ideas.
Oh God, no.
Let's not
do that.
But yeah, so like I said, it was just, that was probably part of the, there's a scene right there. They're really, when they come back after that beach thing, when they come back, my God, they're like so into each other. And that's the other thing. It was hysterical too, is everybody wanted to go into all the undead wanted to go in the attic, and the grandfather, when he comes back, he goes, I want to go to the attic. And that's what
I know from addicts.
Yeah. It's like, holy shit. But yeah, this movie definitely, it made me laugh. I don't know. So I kind of get a little bit of an idea of what you thought of it, but give me your assessment. Cause
I consider this one of the okayest movies I've ever seen.
Okay. All right.
I got you. It was amusing. It was
Yeah.
a fun, roughly 90 minutes,
Yeah.
but it seemed really half-baked. It seemed like an idea that would have been a great short film,
Yeah.
but when stretched out to a full feature length, just didn't have enough meat on the bones.
I have to say this was my pick,
Mm,
and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it the first time I watched it. I enjoyed rewatching it again. I do have to agree with you somewhat, and probably a lot. Um, I think it's probably due to. I don't think it was the biggest budget movie. I think it's had probably a decent budget. I don't know. Can you pull up
oh,
what the
wow.
what was the budget?
2.4 million.
Yeah, that's relatively low for Hollywood. I mean, yeah. I mean, that sounds like a lot to me and you,
It
but
does
for
sound like a lot to me.
yeah, I would like 1 million. I think I could make a I think I could make a pretty good movie for $1 million. But I
But
mean,
but yes, you are right. The Hollywood blockbusters easily do 70 to 100
oh
million.
my God, yeah, uh their budgets are obscene. I'd love to uh make me a part of some of those movies. I'd like to collect some of that. But yeah, they're I mean, just major actors, even what they normally get paid. If that's all the budget was, just think of what does John C. Riley normally get? What does Aubrey Plaza normally get for a movie? I mean, you
Yeah,
know,
and that's another reason why this seemed like, oh, I've got a serious role to do. It's just like we all like each other. We're all doing what we love. Let's get
yeah.
together and have fun.
Yeah, and I almost think that's what it was with this one. I think that they managed to corral a really good cast
Really good.
for low money. So for whatever reason, they decided to take it. Um, they liked the script, they liked the people who were making it, whatever it was, that they decided to get on board with it. Um, I don't know what it brought in either. That's the other thing. What it raked in for profit, but
You don't want to know.
really, really,
Roughly $250,000.
really, that's all, huh?
Yeah.
They must have done way better on for the home market though, for like rentals
Yeah, I don't have the
and
data on that.
sales. Because I mean, hey, I bought it on Voodoo, which I'm pay. I probably picked it up for $5 on a Voodoo sale, but Fandango, whatever you want to call it. But no, that's how I caught it. I like Aubrey Plaza. I really got into her from Parks and
And
Recreations.
I gotta say, that is the only reason I could understand to really like this movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Her.
I definitely she definitely is. Somebody. Every time I see her and stuff, she just makes me laugh. I mean, she really makes me laugh, and
No, you
she's
want to
so
see
good
her in something scary,
in something what
like pretty
really scary.
disconcerting, scary.
Sure. Uh,
Um, oh, where um the television show Legion.
okay. No, I can't say
It
it's.
it's a show I love,
Yeah.
and to spread that out to its logical conclusion, it's probably a show most other people will hate.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is um it's weird to say the least,
Yeah.
and in my opinion, it is pure art. It's more
Okay.
art than story, but the art is just amazing. But
Yeah.
if you don't know Legion, comic book character, first appeared in the New Mutants, I think number 16, 18, something like that.
Right. Right.
Legion is Professor Xavier's son,
Okay. Yep. Yep.
and as such has almost godlike psychic ability.
Huh. Huh.
Like literally reality changing
Wow.
powers.
Yeah.
But he's totally insane. So he has very little control over them.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the first season, Aubrey Plaza plays Louis, one of his personalities, and
Really?
she is just freaky.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, trust me. if you just want a snippet,
Yeah.
go to YouTube, search for Aubrey Plaza Legion,
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna
and,
have to.
and watch a few of the clips. She is crazy in it.
Wow. Yep. Yeah. I'll have to check it out actually because I like her and everything. I really got into her character on, was it April, on Parks and
Yep,
Recreations,
Parks and Rec.
and my God, like her deadpan delivery, just the way she would say stuff to people, she was always making me laugh in that. And I've seen her. What's the one with Robert De Niro, the Dirty Grandpa, whatever
Oh
it was.
yeah, that one.
Yeah, and she was so damn funny in that.
I
And I
don't know.
mean,
I couldn't take in anything else but De Niro doing comedy and doing it well.
well, you know something, it was what really cracked me up was I saw an interview with Aubrey Plaza where she's talking about how the love scene between her and De Niro. And yes, and just the thought of that, first of all. But anyway, I mean he's like me, he's old. But anyway, she said like what should I do? And I think it was the director that said like play with his nipples. And yeah, and she started doing it, and he was like, "What are you doing?" And she was and so she was like, "I'm playing with your nipples," and he's like, "Don't do that." Like, so I guess she told the director like he doesn't like it when I play with his nipples. But but yeah, so like I said, just the whole thought of her
Are
and
you excited for Aubrey Plaza's new TV show that just started?
what's that?
Agatha All Along.
Okay, I've heard of that. I don't know much about it, but I have heard of it.
I
I
cannot
certainly haven't.
wait to see that. I haven't had a
Yeah,
chance to see it yet, but I cannot wait.
yeah. Well, like I said, I think she makes everything better that she's in. So I definitely would check it out. But there's another one again. Sorry, I worked a 12-hour shift. I cannot think of the name of it, but it's a movie that's a more recent one that she plays a woman who's like kind of struggling for trying to find a job that's going to actually pay her money, and she's kind of doing these scams, and she is great. That's a serious role. It's not comedic at all, and she is really good in that. So like I said, I think she's got a wide range. She's talented. So I mean, I'd love to see her in more stuff too.
So let's get back to Life After Beth.
Yeah,
And I blame her entirely for this movie.
really. You
Yeah,
blame her.
it was directed and written by Jeff Baena.
Okay.
Do you know who that is?
I know the name. I don't offhand. I can't
It's
think
her
of.
husband.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. Well, yeah, and actually, yeah, I actually saw a couple when I was pulling clips. I saw a couple of scenes with her, like sitting there holding his hand and stuff like that. So I kind of had a feeling they were romantically involved. But
So evidently, he had written the script a while ago
right,
and sort of just put it on a shelf. He wasn't going to do anything with it.
yeah,
She found it, read it, and said, "Oh, I want to play in this."
yeah.
And
Well,
so this movie being made, I think, is entirely her thing.
I think she played a great zombie. I mean, she was first of all, let's face it, she's a little scary. I mean, when you see her, um, even when she's just playing more like normal characters, and she's never normal. I mean, if you see her on talk shows, she's absolutely hysterical, but because of the way she delivers lines, and even in real life. But she was such a natural for this because her eyes and everything else. I mean, she freaks you out with those eyes, and like I said, perfect zombie to me. It was like, man, she's a natural for this.
Well,
But
you
this,
see, one of my issues,
yeah,
I've got a few. One of my issues is that whoever made this movie is not into zombie movies.
uh,
These were nothing like any zombie I've ever seen portrayed on film.
it was different. It was the rules are a little different in this one. but I kind of liked it. I liked first of all, I liked the fact that the zombies weren't like, first of all, they weren't like the modern zombies who were running and fast. Well, they actually did run, I guess, but in a couple of scenes, but they weren't really aggressive unless they got into a rage, and then they would become aggressive. And even as far as the hungry part, she didn't get to the point where she was actually trying to eat people until way later. So it was a very slow,
Mhm.
progressive type of thing, which, to tell you the truth, I kind of like would buy that more, like, because I mean, the whole idea of somebody clawing their way out of the grave to begin with, or just getting up and walking around, you wouldn't necessarily think that right away they're thinking, I got to eat something. I got to eat brains or whatever you're eating, attack a human being for a meal. So she's kind of slowly built to that. And by the time the scene behind me, I mean, you look at the scene behind you, and here she was talking, she was thinking, she was jealous of her boyfriend. So the scene behind you, she's much more articulate. The scene, the scene behind me is the end when he's taking her out to. He's actually got her strapped to a stove, which I thought was funny as hell. And he takes her for a walk, and that was really funny the way she's look. He's like trying to point out points of beauty, and she goes lavender, and she's just like pointing out things that she sees, and but she's like completely out of it. So by the time it comes to the end, um, and of course he shoots her in the head, she goes over the cliff. But yeah, like I said, I don't know, I dug it. I agree with you, I see flaws, but overall, I thought it was
So
done
here's
well.
another thing that
Yeah,
annoyed me. I probably found this more annoying than anyone normally would. But
yeah,
this really annoyed me. Early in the movie, we see um John C. Riley and Molly Shannon's, the Slocums,
yeah,
housekeeper leaving,
yes, yeah.
walking out the door. There seems to be an angry
Actually, kind of
exchange.
running. Yeah,
She gets in her car, she tears off.
yeah,
We don't exactly know why. Later on,
yeah,
the boyfriend, Dane DeHaan, right there behind you and behind
yeah,
me,
yeah,
um, uh, has the thought that because she's Haitian and was angry at the Slocums, that
yeah,
she's the one that brought this down upon. She's the
yeah.
crux. She's the answer to the whole thing. So he tracks her down, never finds her.
No, he does
And
find a
I'm
friend or
like, why did you even put that in the storyline? It
yeah,
went nowhere.
yeah,
I don't know even why I need to watch that.
yeah, yeah. And they also, they the guy who was the friend of her, of the Haitian woman, he he actually says, because they're talking about there, and the boyfriend is under the impression that she left, I think, because um the Beth was a zombie and came back, and he's like, no, that's not the reason. And he comes out with this thing, and it actually made John C. Riley's character like a much much more
Darker,
darker, and also like more evil,
more
because
perverse.
yes, definitely perverse. Um, he says, no. He goes, the father, John C. Riley, was like kind of making like sexual advances to her, and he used to walk around naked, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, that puts a whole different light on John C. Riley's
It
character.
really does. It really
Yeah,
does.
and
But
if that is
that was
actually why she left, it's like, man,
but
but
you put the scene at the start that automatically it's in my head. I'm thinking this is
yeah.
going to be something later on, and it never ends up being anything really.
Yeah. But again, I think that is because of the budget. Let's face it, when you're talking a $2 million movie with the cast, I mean, the cast had to get paid something Cheryl Hines, I mean, Aubrey Plaza, John C. Riley, all these people, they're all, Anna Kendrick, they're all people that normally get a salary and
Mhm.
get a decent salary. And when this was made, they were all well-known actors and actresses. So where did the besides paying them, where did the money come from? The rest of it was like they had to be complete budget. So and there was, they were paying a makeup artist. I mean, the special effects were pretty good for the movie itself. I mean, look at some of the blood scenes that were showing behind us and stuff. It was fairly well done. So again, I don't know where they corralled the talent, but it was well filmed. It was, maybe not the greatest cinematography, but it was pretty good. So again, like I said, I think they did wonders considering what they had to work with. The script, oh yeah, actually you got a great shot there. That
Yep,
yeah,
there's the homeowners.
yes, and that suddenly show up and think that it's because that's the other thing about this particular type of zombie is they're actually much more thinking, at least at the start, when they first arise, but they actually bring whatever their like last memories are to the table, and they're just thinking, we live here. So yeah, like I said, it's different. I get what you're saying. It is definitely a different type of zombie movie, but to me
So
it was fun.
it's why I said it's the okayest movie. It's
Yeah,
not a bad movie. It's
yeah,
definitely amusing. It's kind of entertaining to sit through, but it ain't great.
yeah. Well, I wouldn't call it great when you look at when you look at in terms of like I mean it's not it's not Spartacus, it's not whatever, it's not any great film but I think it's a darn good movie. I think it's entertaining. I think it's a fun movie. It's a comedy, and it's a fun comedy. So is it as good?
It's funny because this is genre wise in most websites that I looked at. This is billed as a comedy horror.
Right.
This is a horror in the same way that Love at First Bite is a horror, just because it's got Dracula in it.
Right, right. Well, I mean, I definitely consider this to be a zombie movie. I think it's a solid zombie movie. However, again, I compare it in a lot of ways again to Shaun of the Dead. I brought that up, and I see a lot of similarities. I don't think this movie might have existed if Shaun of the Dead didn't exist.
Oh, totally not.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say they ripped it off, but they definitely
It's
played on.
definitely an artistic child
Sure, sure.
of Shaun
Yeah,
of the Dead.
yes. So, is it as good as Shaun of the Dead? No. And I'm not going to try to say it is. The comedy isn't as good. Um, it's good. It's very good. It made me laugh in many, many places. And I would, if we were throwing out the recommendations now, which just as good as any time to our audience, if people are still watching, but I always have to
Always the
say,
question. You
well,
know
I
how
was
they
a,
say, like, dance as if no one is watching? We're
yeah,
going to podcast as if a whole bunch of people are
yeah,
watching.
yeah, yeah. I always want to say it like, to our many viewers out there. But no, as far as recommendation, I would highly recommend it. I think it's a fun movie. Do I think it's a great movie, or do I think it's one of the better zombie movies? Is it one of the better even comedic ones? No, but I think it's right on up there, as far as fun and a good comedy. So if you want an enjoyable viewing for a casual evening, this is a good one to watch. So
I,
that's
I,
that's where I put it.
yeah, it's far from the worst movie I've seen.
Yeah.
You could do a lot worse,
Oh my
particularly
God. Yeah. Yeah.
with the zombie genre. But I also have a feeling if an equivalently talented cast was in the role, but it didn't feature any known names, no
Right.
one would rate this as highly. I think it's the names alone that are helping people like this film.
Uh, I mean, I think it helps, but here's the thing. If they were no names, people, no, if they were unknown actors playing this role, I think it would have been a harder sell in the sense of like when you see Cheryl Hines and John C. Riley and Aubrey Plaza and on Anna Kendrick, on and on. When you see this cast, then it's like, oh wow, Cheryl Hines is in this, so and so is in this. It's naturally it draws your eye, it draws your attention, and again, if they're talented people, which they are, that helps. But if you had a cast of unknowns that was just as good, um, I still would have really enjoyed this movie with a cast of unknowns. I think I probably would have enjoyed it just as much. However, like I will say that it would have been a harder one for me to pull up as, say, one of our channel. It probably would have been something. Yeah, I would have watched it one evening and said, okay, I like that. That was fun. But would I have picked it like for our weekly talk? No, probably not. So the cast did help, especially with the script, because the script is weaker.
Well, it's a husband and wife team.
Yeah, true, true.
He created the movie, she was the star, and it just seems to make sense.
It does, and actually, it the it was tailor made for her.
It
I mean,
really was.
let's face it. And I mean, I don't know what the friendships are, because sometimes with a movie, sometimes someone will play a role where they don't get paid well just because they're asked to do, and they think, okay, well, this is a fun script. I'm not doing anything right now. Sure, I'll do the movie and maybe take a real, low
And
salary.
that's the feeling I'm getting from this movie.
Yeah.
I didn't love it, but I have what I did love is I felt the cast had a great time doing it.
I do too. I definitely, but that's something that also makes me enjoy a movie sometimes more, because if you're watching a movie and you think, I've seen movies where I looked at the cast and I thought to myself, man, nobody wants to be in this. It looks like pain from beginning to end. And with this one, yeah, it did look like they were having fun. So I give it credit in that sense too. It that always makes a movie better when you actually see that a cast is kind of digging what they're doing, and they were. I mean, everybody, I will give you your full due on that, what you were saying about the, as far as some people, John C. Riley could have been used.
Oh
Cheryl
my
Hines.
God. Remembering him in things like Step Brothers,
Yeah.
Walk Hard. I mean, he is
Oh yeah.
so funny.
He's so funny and he's so damn talented. I mean, the guy, I mean, even when he plays more silly roles, he's so damn good. I mean, look at his part in Chicago. Um, when he sang like Cellophane Man, I mean,
Mm.
I was like, oh my God, I can't believe the guy can sing that good. So I mean,
But
he's
also his role in oh, the Dirk Diggler movie.
oh yeah. Yes, yes, yeah, Boogie Nights.
Boogie Nights.
I love Boogie Nights. That's such a good movie. That's one we should do sometime.
It's definitely on the list.
Yeah,
We've got so many movies on the list.
I know, I know. When we first started doing this, Dom, I remember one time you said, "What are we gonna do when we start running out running out of movies?" And I was like, "Dude, we'll never run out of movies because we don't have the time." The list that I have is so long, and every once in a while somebody throws out a recommendation or something like that. And I know damn well you've got a list that's probably longer than, the
The
your
average bear.
yes. So yeah, that's the thing. We're never gonna run out of ideas for films. I mean, when I picked this one, there were so many that I was trying like I kind of like this one here. I picked this. I kind of feel like the Halloween season because I look at this
Yeah.
as starting way before,
And
and this is the
I
first of the
thank you
horror.
for choosing this
Good, good.
for two reasons.
Okay.
One, I thought it was too early to start doing horror movies.
Yeah.
You've convinced me. I'm all in.
Yeah. It's never too early, Dom,
It,
for
it, it,
horror.
well, believe me, the thing is given my taste in movies, when I choose a movie that's not horror, that's
Yeah.
active work on my part. Like I
Right.
automatically want to go to horror.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well,
And
yeah, and
this
this is light. This is horror light. This is
and the
not really
second
horror.
is
Yeah.
because I am going to choose a movie I've been holding off on because I think you're going to think the same way about that movie that I think about this movie.
Really? Okay.
I'm gonna choose something that's not well known.
So this
I
is
don't
for
think it's
next
very
week.
well liked, but for some reason, it gets me.
Good. Good. Okay. So are you ready to name it?
I am.
All
I
right.
want to
So
do the movie Pontypool.
okay, I have not seen it.
I am sure you've never even heard of it. Most
Well,
people
no,
have
I've
not.
actually heard of it, but
Oh,
yeah, I've heard of it, but I have not seen it. And I don't, if you ask me right now, what's it about? I couldn't tell you. I just know
it's
the
a
name.
zombie movie without zombies.
Okay. Well, then
You'll see what I
that's
mean.
worse than what you're criticizing this movie for.
No, exactly. That's why I was holding off. And now once I saw
Okay.
this movie, like, okay,
Is
it's
it
time.
is it scary? See that I don't like this right now.
There
What
are
you're doing.
definitely
I
there are
don't like what
definitely
you're doing at all.
there are scary moments.
Yeah.
The buildup is gold. The buildup
When
is genius. The
when you
payoff is like, what just happened?
yeah. Well, when you asked me when I mention a horror movie and you ask me, is it scary? I usually can give you an answer within like that. Oh yeah, it's scary. Or well, it's not that scary. The fact that you thought for a minute, I was thinking, uh-oh, this is gonna be bad. So yeah, I'm definitely I'm looking forward to seeing it because I haven't seen it. And this actually you got me intrigued now. So you really got me intrigued. So this sounds like it could be fun. So yeah, uh, I think I think that probably wraps up this particular what we've
Indeed.
unless you can think of
No,
some other.
I think we've said everything there is to say. There's, I gotta say, I keep saying it's not a bad movie, but there's not much to it. Not a lot of people talk about it. I haven't read a lot of interviews around it. It just got made, and no one really seems to talk about it that much.
No, but I think it's underappreciated. I actually, and one thing I just thought of because I was going to say to you, well, do you have any other like trivia or anything like that you want to bring up? But you know what I was going to say? I don't know whether if there's anyone still watching. Um, I don't know whether anyone out there has heard this or you've heard this, but Aubrey Plaza, were you aware that when she was 20, she had a stroke?
Yep.
Because that's something I remember hearing her talk about that in a talk show.
And not
And I
just one.
no, yes, she's had TIA since then, or I got
Yeah.
is that what you describe them as the little ones?
Yeah.
But
Transient ischemic attacks.
yeah, and apparently when she was on talk shows, she has said that when she had the first one, which was the real bad one, she said that her friends thought that she was fooling around and just playing because of how crazy and silly she is. And so they actually didn't take her seriously. She had to convince them like, yeah, there's something wrong. And they finally like, okay, we better call an ambulance. but yeah, so it actually does scare me because I mean, I think to myself, for someone that young and especially that she's had, further ones down the road, it's a little scary. I hope she's on the right medications because that's the fact that she's had them through her life. But anyway, that was one little piece of trivia I wondered if you'd heard, or whether anyone else out there in viewing land has heard. So yeah, we could say let's wrap this one up. I think we had a good one for this. I mean,
Well,
there's
we're
only
we're we're just getting the Halloween season rolling.
yeah, and I'm excited for the Halloween season because I am all about, and whether or not there's a whole lot of people that are feel as like-minded, I think there are, but I'm a big horror fan. I love all genres, but I certainly love horror. And this time of year, I love Halloween. I love the season. I love everything about it. So I this was like a light kickoff to it, and for you, I'm sure you're really thinking, yeah, that was light. But now you've got me wondering on this next one, whether or not I'm going to be scared at all. So, but
I,
anyway,
I think we both have some interesting picks in store.
oh, definitely. I believe me, for further ones down the road. So anyone that's still listening, for one thing, leave a like and subscribe if you would. We really do appreciate it. We need the love and the support. It helps. It really helps. But hopefully there'll be some people viewing that like horror as much as we do, because we look forward to seeing a few in that genre for probably the next few picks. That's not to say we won't deviate during October or whatever, but we'll throw some horror at you guys just to give you a good taste of what we like. So, and I want to do something really freaky scary. So I'm anxious to see what you picked, and then let's really kick it off. So with that, I probably will say, I think we've said it for this week, Dom. I think we could probably wrap it up and tell our viewers thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and we'll see you guys next week. And Dom,
Yeah,
I'll
come on back because we got more movies.
absolutely, but there's no end to what we got for movies. So yeah, we're not done with you guys yet. So you're stuck with us. But all right, Dom, I'm gonna say see you next week, and
Indeed.
so everybody we'll be back again with another fun one. So please leave that like and subscribe. Thank you guys.